The Morrison government is under pressure to expand its paid pandemic leave payment beyond Victoria. Live now to political reporter Trudy McIntosh. Trudy, unions also have concerns with the scheme.
Ash, the ACTU has said this is a good start after the Prime Minister late yesterday revealed this flat $1,500 a fortnight payment for people in Victoria who don't currently have an entitlement to sick leave but therefore do need to self-isolate. But the unions have been making the case today that this needs to be broader. Labor as well saying that the scheme should apply on a national basis, so any worker in any state or territory doesn't have to make that tough decision if they are faced with a positive COVID test. But the government holding the line so far on this, saying if other states do declare a state of disaster, then they too can be entitled to these payments. There's also pressure to change the amount of the payment. It's currently going to be $1,500 a fortnight, but both the unions and Labor say that's not going to be enough for some people who earn more. They're going to have to make a decision to take a pay cut if they're going to accept this payment.
That it doesn't cover people's full wages. It's set pretty much at the rate of the minimum wage, and that's less than half the average wage. To have this work, workers have got to know that if they stop work to get tested because they've got symptoms or they've been exposed, and if they need to self-isolate or quarantine, that it won't have any impact on their pay. That's the way to make this as strong and no holes in it, this system.
But I think we should err on the side of generosity, because we do not want there to be any incentive for people to go to work. It should be available not just to Victorians, it should be available to anyone who doesn't have leave at the moment.
Trudy, we just heard it made pretty clear by the new AMA president that he doesn't think politicians should be returning to Parliament at this stage. As to whether or not that happens in Canberra later this month, it's all pretty unclear at this point.
It certainly is, Ash, but there's open speculation at the moment where we could see federal MPs go into a form of hotel quarantine if they were to come to Canberra for the scheduled 24th of August next sitting day. But you've got to say the clock is ticking on that. There's only 3 weeks to go, so a lot of quick decisions would have to be made if that's the option that's chosen. There is a working group at the moment of federal and territory health authorities, plus the presiding officers in both of the chambers, to determine what protocols could be put in place to make Parliament safer. Not only is the concern of Victorian MPs coming to Canberra, you'd also have to say, given the advice to Canberrans is Greater Sydney, there should be a concern about people travelling from there to Canberra. It's certainly not just one state that's going to pose an issue for the working group. But the Labor leader today is certainly making a pretty big issue of the fact that this Parliament needs to return in person.
And that is why today we're being very clear again to say August 24, put in place whatever mechanisms are required to ensure that the National Parliament can meet. Democracy matters, accountability matters, scrutiny matters.
Ash, there's only 3 weeks to go until that scheduled sitting day. Both sides of politics would like to see Parliament return in some form, but certainly you'd have to say a lot of details to still be worked through.